and welcome to Talk This.
It's dangerous to podcast alone.
I'm one of your hosts, Madelyn.
I'm your other host, Emma.
And thanks for tuning in for this week's side quest episode.
Yeah.
That's right, it's every other week, so it's side quest time.
It's every other week as opposed to every other week.
You said those a little differently. I don't think you meant to, but you did. So yeah. There's just a little difference in inflection in your tone, where you're like...
That was on purpose.
Oh, it was? Okay. I forgot that you're a voice actor.
Yeah.
That was subtle. That was award-winning.
I did some acting today in one of my on Friday, on one of my classes.
Really?
Yeah.
Doing what?
It's for a project.
A top secret project?
We made a script, an audio drama script for Candyland.
Sure.
Yeah, as you do.
Coming to theaters soon, no doubt.
It's an audio drama, Madeline. It doesn't come to theaters. We did a live reading.
Audible now is doing this whole big thing where they have their own theater, but they record plays and they put them on Audible. So it's just
fun.
in reverse.
Inevitably. Well, there you go. Fun facts with Madeline.
Yeah, inevitably, Candyland by Emma coming to Audible. So soon.
So soon.
It's so soon we can't even give you a date.
I know.
So it's a side quest, which means it's our usual news magazine format where we'll talk about what we've been playing this week, the weather in the game industry, an off-topic corner, vacation, the question of the fortnight, not that fortnight, plus the traffic report, beep beep, what's on the blog and such. So let's start out with that save data segment. Emma, what have you been playing these past 2 weeks?
Not a whole lot. I took a little bit of a breather from games after I finished Kingdom Hearts 3, which we talked about on the last side quest, I guess. But I've been trudging through Tales of Vesperia, which I'm still enjoying, but it just keeps going. I keep thinking we're like, oh, this is the finale, this is it. And then it's like, oh, no, just kidding, that's not it.
Wah.
I do want to share something, and this involves some spoilers for this now 10 to 12-year-old game. And mid-game spoilers, I guess. When I was there, I thought it was late-game spoilers, but it's mid-game spoilers. Probably 30 hours in, about. But it's been out for a while, so I feel okay talking about it, and I think it's really cool. So there's a character in your party named Raven, or at least that's the name he goes by. And you find out about 30 hours in that he has been sort of spying on you for the big bad, who's not the big bad, but he's the big bad at that time.
Maleficent, you mean?
So he's been spying on you. He's actually working for this guy. But you also find out, and well, all these things were actually pretty well foreshadowed throughout it. So it surprised me, and then I thought about it. I was like, oh, damn. But he has he doesn't have a heart. He has an energy source for a heart. The energy source that provides all the energy in the games. So he has an artificial heart, basically.
Do we know that? Is it an artificial heart you could sort of, you can't
It's
really...
he has a sphere in his chest that is powered by his own life energy that he also uses to do combat. So everybody has Blastia is what they're called, but usually they're attached to them, they have a wristband that has a Blastia in it, and they use that to use their arts, which are special moves.
But this doesn't make him evil, is what
I'm
asking.
No, it does not make
clarify.
him evil. The bad guy gave it to him, hence why he's working for the bad guy, because he gave him his life back, basically.
Gotcha.
But anyway, all that works out, it's fine, you figure it out, he rejoins your party. But I play as Raven a lot, because he's really fun to play as, he uses a bow, and he's fun. But you get this thing called a mystic art eventually. It's your final move. So you build up stuff and then you use it, and it's a big attack that hits all the enemies. And usually they just do it and then they're out of over limit, which is what you're in when you use it, and that's it. But when Raven does it, you can't move him for 5 seconds afterwards. he says, "Oh, I thought I was gonna die." And like he just stops there, like clutching his chest for a bit. So, like the first time I used it, I was like, "Oh, oh no!" But I thought that was really clever. I was like, "Man, that's something they did not have to put in there, right? Like it just inconveniences you, honestly, but it's really good." And I wanted to shout out the Tales of Vesperia developers for that. You could have given me a quest progression system that makes sense, but no, you gave me this little fun gameplay thing, and I appreciate that. Anyway, that's my tidbit from Tales of Vesperia. I also downloaded the demo for Demon Ex Machina, which is the Switch exclusive giant mecha robot game, where you like pilot a robot and like go around shooting things and stuff, because I thought it looked cool. They announced it, I think, at E3 last year, and then they shadow dropped a demo after their latest direct, so it was free, so I got it to try it out. It was pretty fun. I don't know if I'm gonna actually buy it like off the bat. I'll probably wait to hear what it's like, because I didn't really like, I'm not sure. It was just like trying out the gameplay and customization systems mostly, rather than like what the game is, you know? So I don't know anything about the story or anything, but it was fun enough. I'll give it a try if people seem to like it. It's coming out this summer, like every other game in the world is coming out this summer, but you know, that's fine.
That's good timing for you. You'll get to finish school.
Yeah, I'll be working. That's great timing.
Who cares about work?
Yeah, true. Who cares? But I think those are the only two things I've been playing. I'm really trying to finish Vesperia, and it just really does not want to end.
You're doing your darndest, though.
I really am.
Maybe if you didn't spend so much time dressing them up.
That's the essential part, though.
Fair.
Oh God, I can't. We're like we're in our dark mode. We're like emo right now. So we're prepped for battle. That was my concept, because it's like, I'm assuming this is the end stages. If there's anything beyond this, I don't know what I'll do. But we're ready and prepped for battle. So we're all wearing like our armor and our cool outfits. So it feels thematically appropriate.
Nice.
Yeah.
If Octopath Traveler had had a dress-up system, do you think you would have made it through?
Yeah. Probably.
At least you know yourself.
You know, they did change outfits when you like gave them their secondary class, which was a lot of fun. But I didn't like, you have to change their class then to like change their outfit. But I wish I could have like just swapped on the fly. You know.
Yeah. I feel that sometimes in my daily life.
But Madelyn, what have you been playing?
See, mine I feel like is even less interesting than yours. I have been playing through Kingdom Hearts 3, like twice, basically, because I play it, and then Clickbait Boyfriend plays it. So I've seen the first, I guess, like third-ish, I assume, of the game twice, and then a little bit past that, because I've played some more. This is where, I guess, the very, very minor Kingdom Hearts 3 spoilers commence. So, again, if you have not played any of it yet, and you still don't want to be spoiled, which, come on, you've already been spoiled for this much of the game, but whatever, we'll let it ride. Here they start. As predicted, Clickbait Boyfriend hated the Frozen world. He's not done with it yet, but he still hates it. Because he hasn't seen Frozen.
Oh, well now he has, so.
Well, he's having a hard time following it. Basically.
Yeah.
He's like she created Olaf, and he was like, well, they haven't introduced that character yet. And I was like, yeah, they haven't. He was much faster at finding Olaf's head.
Everything looks like Olaf, Madelyn.
He really did get mad at Donald and Goofy, but he was much faster at finding the head. It took me forever to find his head.
I couldn't find the right body. I brought every single body back, because those scenes were pretty funny.
Those scenes were pretty funny.
I could not find the right one, ever. I couldn't find it.
Well, I guess it's crazy that you finished the game, then.
I know. Goofy kept being like, I think we should ask Olaf first.
He does that even after you ask him, too. It's really rude.
And then Donald just doesn't even try. Everything looks like Olaf. He's got a nose for ingredients, but when it comes to finding snowmen, Donald is useless.
Yeah. So yeah, I just think that Josh is better at the hide and seek type games than I am in general. You blew my mind this week though by telling me that you can rotate your reaction commands.
Yes, Alan, you can.
Which I thought it was just sort of part of the strategy that you had to like blow through them and work on the timer, but I guess it's not.
The timer sort of is part of the strategy, right? Because some of them are there longer than other
I know,
ones.
but I thought it was like, oh, if the pirate ship is longer, you have to use it, hit finish real quick, and hope you can do Firaga.
No.
I guess not. There were also, my favorite part of Valentine's Day this year was all of the ridiculous Kingdom Hearts themed Valentines that I was sent. My favorite was Vanitas saying, "Join your heart with mine."
With mine, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I saw like an anti-Valentine thing with Woody, like, I'm betting no one's ever loved you before.
Oh. I forgot about that. That was so sick. Or, oh man, there was another good one that I saw. Oh, shoot. Oh, right. It was Xehanort, and he was like, "I want your body."
There were, like, official ones, and there was one with Xehanort that was, "I've always got time for you."
Ew.
I know.
That's gross. That's not allowed.
Get it? Because he time travels, though.
No, I got it.
Okay. Just making sure.
But in non-Kingdom Hearts, so end Kingdom Hearts 3 spoilers, I'm making my way through it. I'm hopeful that I'm going to get to play a bunch more this weekend. It's been a little bit slow going because I'm busy. Mm-hmm. I was going to come up with some kind of like actual reason, but there's not one.
Busy's fair enough. Busy's fair enough.
But I'm also, I played a little bit more Persona this week. I got through a little bit more of this final Mementos Palace. Really think that the quarantine, again, spoilers for a game that's been out forever, but whatever. Not forever, but it's been out for a couple years now. And frankly, we've already spoiled the whole game for you.
Yeah.
So it's too late if you're listening to this podcast. But I really think the quarantine cell is going to be Igor and the girls on the inside. And then we fight Champ McDude.
You fight Champ McDude?
Yeah, we have to fight myself. And the fact that I've been making a bunch of dope personas for myself is going to come back to bite us.
Gasp. Interesting theory.
It would be an interesting theory. Too bad it's not true.
It could
also,
be.
When is Akechi going to come back? I don't believe he's dead.
I don't know. He's got to come back and dance.
Oh, speaking of Kingdom Hearts 3, back for just 1 minute for one more teeny tiny little minor spoiler. It's nice that we haven't really confirmed that Hiro's brother is, like, dead. They're just like, he's gone.
Well, I mean,
I'm just saying, has this game had a confirmed death? This whole series? No. I
don't know.
No, it hasn't. People just, like, disappear or go to the darkness or whatever.
I mean, we've been... The E+10 is for impalement, and we've had a couple of those in a couple of Disney worlds.
Sure.
So.
But I present Huey, Dewey, and Louie, the immortal duck children. There is no death.
I don't know.
Anyway, we'll I'm very excited to see what happens at the end of Persona. I've been sort of hesitating. I feel like I'm close enough to the end now that if I start playing, I'm gonna have to finish. But I'm worried about that because I also feel like there's probably like 2 to 3 hours left.
Yeah.
And it's just, I gotta start playing early enough in the evening that's not till 2 in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a tricky balance. We're really looking to play some The World Ends With You soon. I sort of forgot we were playing it. Because I'd been so distracted by other Square Enix properties. But we're gonna get back to that. I'm hoping that this next, by the time we do our next side quest, that I will have much more diverse and interesting gaming report. But that's my save data.
Cool. Now on to the whoosh. weather report.
Brr. Emma, do you feel a chill in the air?
I think there's a blizzard rolling in.
And not the one that hit the Northeast. Not that it was really even a blizzard, it was just sort of a snowstorm earlier this week. No, the one that hit California and Seattle and everywhere Activision Blizzard has offices.
Yeah. Yeah, in all seriousness, there was a rather brutal round of layoffs at Activision Blizzard this past week. I think it happened this week.
Mm-hmm. Tuesday.
They sort of had a sense, like, from the reporting I've read, like, they knew layoffs were coming, but they didn't really realize how bad it would be. And also, like, this system in the games industry of just being able to be like, well, okay, you're fired. See ya. Is a little stressful, I imagine. So, like, I was following Jason Schreier from Kotaku on Twitter when it was happening, and he was like, they were crying and hugging in the parking lot before the day started because they were all expecting to get fired. And 800 of them were fired.
Was he, like, sitting there with binoculars?
I don't know, Mel's. It's his job to do the reporting. He's like
I'm sorry,
big news reporter.
I know he's a big news reporter. He does a good job at Kotaku. That was just a funny little, not funny, but it was an interesting little tidbit.
Yeah.
Just, like, imagining him on Twitter, just, like, really doing the investigative reporting, like, in the parking lot.
Uh-huh.
Anyway.
But yeah, so the issue, like, the thing is, like, they did it on, like, an earnings report day where they were talking to their stakeholders about their record year of selling games. Or rather, they did a record year, but it also wasn't up to their standards.
Right, it was a record year, but it still didn't hit their targets.
Yeah. So it feels a little, it ends up feeling a little sleazy that they're firing people right as they're reporting their earnings. And it also feels a little discouraging that that a company as, like, prolific and successful as Blizzard can, like, lay off 800 people, or it feels the need that they need to lay off 800 people just on a day.
Well, so I want to come back to the actual weather in the weather report in just a minute. But also, I was reading Blizzard hasn't actually released a new game since Overwatch came out. Now, granted, there's a lot of maintaining to be done on Overwatch, and I'm sure Overwatch brings in just gobs of money. Mm-hmm. But you say prolific, it's interesting to think about what that means in 2019.
That's true. I don't follow Blizzard games very much, so
I don't.
I guess prolific was the wrong word. They do usually make, like, online experiences.
Mm-hmm. But certainly, Overwatch is in the news constantly. They're constantly coming up with new material for it and new lore for it that is, depending on your point of view, sort of progressive or weirdly capitalizing on pseudo-progressivism for financial gain, or makes you angry if you're a little gamer boy who feels angry about people being gay. So one of those three things has to be your opinion. But my actual weather that I want to ask here is, so like you said, Activision Blizzard is a huge company that, as they have literally said, had a record year. Which, of course, doesn't mean that they're on pace, but it brings me to my actual weather question, which is whether the gaming industry will ever be able to transform itself into a place where people can have stable careers built on foundations that do not cause them anxiety at all times. And, whether these kinds of stories will ever become outside the norm.
I mean, you'd like to hope so.
Yeah.
Right? there's different kinds of dangers of whether you work in AAA or whether you work at an indie company, right?
For sure.
So, like, if you work at an indie company, like, you're always, scrounging for... most indie companies, you're, like, scrounging to stay afloat most of the time.
Well, sure. Let's put aside indie companies, because that's the idea there is, like, you've basically started your own business, or you're working for somebody's sort of startup business.
Yeah.
And there's no way for that to be always, not stressful and secure.
Yeah.
So that's a sort of a separate thing that spans industries. So I'm comfortable putting that aside.
But in AAA, like, there's a lot of things, like, stuff with, like, Blizzard happening of, like, that they don't feel, they're restructuring their focus, basically, and therefore, are getting rid of parts of the company that they don't want to focus on in that moment anymore. So if you're in that part of the company, like, there's nothing you can do about it. And then you have, like, and I wouldn't really call Telltale AAA, but then you have stuff like Telltale where, like, they're just not even keeping themselves alive until the moment that everything implodes and then everybody's left on the street, basically. Like, at least the Blizzard employees seem to be getting some sort of severance package. Or the ones that, were not
eligible
contract.
Sure.
Yeah, the ones that were eligible for that. Because there is still a lot of freelance and contract work in the game industry, too. And I think there always will be. But, like, you could cut down a little bit more on that, I feel like. Especially in big studios. Yeah. It's just kind of depressing to think about. But it's not like there aren't companies that haven't found a sustainable model for themselves. It's just, it's easier not to, I guess.
Well, another question, though. So, what would happen if just a whole team or, a whole sector of Activision Blizzard went on strike?
Well, that's why people want to unionize.
Well, I know that, yes, but,
There's no organization able to help with that right now. There's no facilitation of something where that could really happen easily.
I get that, but just bear with me that we're able to have some kind of informal agreement among, like, the entire Overwatch team, for example. They're like, we're not happy with our conditions here, we don't have enough guarantees if these layoffs were to happen again, we're all gonna go on strike until we get paid better for our time and crunch is regulated and we're guaranteed severance if something like this is to happen. Like, would they really be able to find people to bring, like, strike breakers to bring in?
I don't know.
I just wonder. I don't know. It just feels like there has to be some sector of some company willing to take that leap to, like, unionize and take that risk.
I mean, a lot of people want to unionize. It's just harder than that.
No, I know that. Of course it is. You have to be willing to take the chance that they're going to fire you for unionizing.
Yeah.
But it feels like somebody somewhere has got to do it, or this will never stop.
Yeah. And, I mean, I'm not an expert on this stuff, but, like, I feel like in order to have a functional union, too, like, you have to have decided on standards. So, like, what should be the standard work time for a game employee in a particular role? Or what should be the standard this or that,
Yeah.
And we haven't really reached that. Because, like, I don't necessarily see the problem with, like, 2 weeks before the game's release, you have to put in some work to it, or 2 weeks before the game's done, or whatever, It's the issue is when that's years or months, or a constant state of being at a company.
Sure. And I'm thinking of, it feels, in some ways, it feels difficult. It's like, oh, gaming is this creative industry, right? How can you standardize the amount of work that people have to put in when emergencies happen, blah, blah, blah. Except that every other, any performing arts organization, whatever, not even literally performers, but, technicians and directors and whatever, which are sort of in some ways more similar roles to at least some gaming positions.
Mm-hmm.
There are unions. There are rules about how many hours they can work. There are rules about how much they have to get paid.
But they haven't done any of those things in the game industry.
I know.
I'm not all saying it's not possible. I think it's 100% possible and also necessary, but they don't have those things right now.
Well, somebody put them in touch with Actors Equity. See if they can get it sorted out.
Yes, that's how it works.
Actors Equity just got they just won a huge big thing. They went on strike for a month. They got a huge big thing about Broadway, profit sharing.
Mm-hmm.
So, come on, gaming industry. Take a cue from the actors.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the issue is partially that, this is the youngest industry, for the first thing. And even industries, there are unions available in movies and theaters, but even those have their own share of problems with, interns or whatever, right? But, the game industry has, evolved so quickly that it feels like it sort of missed some steps on the way to becoming the, billions of dollar industry that it is.
No, for sure. But that's why I'm saying I feel like these people hold a lot of power. If just the Overwatch team could form some kind of quasi-union and have some demands and strike, that's just tremendous amounts of money on the table. It's incredibly risky on their part, but also that's why it feels like a strike here could work, because there's so much money if it's from the right people. Anyway, I look forward to the day. So, without any further ado, let's shake off that strike stress just a little bit and immerse ourselves in the off-topic corner. So, Emma, has this particularly kind of interesting class assignment that we've been puzzling over the past couple days. I'm trying to convince her to come to New York to fulfill it.
Yeah. So I'm taking a Building Imaginary Worlds class, which is cool. I like it. I sort of feel like this is my last semester of college, so I'm just taking things that are finishing my requirements. So it usually, I've tried to take schedules that feel like the classes build off each other and interact in interesting ways or whatever, while also fulfilling my requirements. But in this case, I just have a hodgepodge of stuff, so it all feels a little weird. But I am enjoying the Imaginary Worlds class. But one of the assignments, in addition to our Candyland audio drama, one of the assignments is that we have to go on 2 field trips. So one of them is to a fan gathering, which me and Madelyn are going to PAX in, is that late March or April?
Late March.
PAX East, I mean. So that fulfills that. But the other one, I have to go to a themed attraction, which is you go to a place and you go through some sort of experience, or it's themed in some way. So here in Boston, we have the Boston Tea Party Museum, which you go with a group and you go through the motions of a colonial town hall, and then you go quote unquote throw the tea in the harbor and whatever.
Which I want to note, Emma describes me first as the Tea Party Museum. And I had a very different idea of the activities you would partake in.
Or in DC, it might be something like the International Spy Museum, where you go through the experience of pretending to be a spy, that sort of thing. Or a theme park, so you could go to Disneyland, or the local one is Thomas Land, and I say local, but these things are still like 3 hours away. But and Thomas Land is Thomas the Train Engine, in case you didn't get it. Or you could go to some place like that does like historical reenactments. So like there's Old Sturbridge Village here, or there's like Williamsburg or whatever in Virginia. But like all these things, all these themed attractions are very much like come with a group. I don't know very many people in this class, which is actually surprising to me. Because I have taken games classes before, and it's weird how few people I recognize in this class. I think it's because there's a lot of freshmen in it, which is a little weird. So I don't know very many people in the class, so I cannot take them. And of my friends, I do not think any of them would want to be dragged to any of these places.
Not Thomas Land?
Not Thomas
Which, by
Land.
the way, when you
More
talk about...
specifically, if these places were free, I'm sure they would be dragged to them. But they're not free. They're not even cheap. They are somewhat expensive. So that poses some challenges in finding a place where I can go have a themed attraction experience.
Whenever you talk about Thomas Land after talking about the Boston Tea Party Museum, I really think it's some kind of like Thomas Jefferson or Thomas Paine theme park.
No.
Which should be super cool. I told her she could come here and have the tiny apartment experience, but she didn't seem sold.
Yeah. No, I'm good.
So, listeners, if you have suggestions for themed attractions in the greater northeastern seaboard area, do let us know, because Emma needs to graduate. So we're counting on you.
Really need some ideas.
Beep beep!
Oh, jeez. I'm sure that sounded lovely.
It's the traffic report.
Welcome.
So these past 2 weeks on the blog, we've been a little off schedule just because the both of us have somewhat busy late winters. Mm-hmm. I can call it late winter now. Isn't that delightful?
That is delightful.
Even though it's not. Winter really goes all the way through March, but we're gonna pretend. The groundhog said early spring. So, these past 2 weeks on the blog, we just missed the Tales of Vesperia 10 Thoughts in 10 Hours, although I think that had not really been posted before we blogged, or not blogged, before we chatted last time. Yeah, so I'll shout it out again. Emma's 10 Thoughts in 10 Hours on Tales of Vesperia, Definitive Edition. If you want more of her thoughts, if you thought her thoughts at the beginning of this episode were thoughtful, check it out.
Yeah.
We also have 2 editions of Split Screen, featuring more of our thoughts. The blog is mostly about our thoughts. If you didn't pick up on that, that's what blogs are.
As most writing is.
But about Boys Over Flowers and My Hero Academia. Someone was talking about Boys Over Flowers in the hallway at work this week, and boy, was that a moment of terror for me. First, it was a moment of delight. I couldn't believe she was talking about how she needed to get back into K-drama, and how she'd already seen all the classics, like Boys Over Flowers.
Like, the classic Boys Over Flowers.
She said it was a classic, so I felt vindicated.
Yes.
I felt vindicated. But then I was afraid she was going to be like, and man, when Jun Pyo and Woo Bin both went into a life of crime together, that was unexpected.
What?
She didn't say that, but I was afraid she was going to say something like that.
I would go for, like, the, I don't know, Thelma and Louise style ending.
We can't break up the Hardy Boys. But yeah, she didn't spoil it for me, thank goodness. So the series rolls on. We also have just one Clickbait Boyfriend about Dream Drop. No, not about Dream Drop Distance. I'm reading it. The title is Clickbait Boyfriend Darkness Dress Up, and it had a lot of D's in it. So I just started to immediately say Dream Drop Distance. But no, it's about Kingdom Hearts 0.2, Birth by Sleep, a fragmentary passage. So, even more complicated of a title. Yep. And instead of my usual hodgepodge of like 33% memes that I've created and 66% memes that I've hoarded from the internet, instead this time it has a lot of drawings from me of Clickbait Boyfriend's predictions for Kingdom Hearts 3 before he started playing it.
Mm-hmm.
They're, drawings by me. So you should look
If you
at
ever
them.
want me to help you draw anything, I've done some delightful Octopath chibis in the past.
I know. If you know what, I would not say no to you doing some of the drawings. I'll send you I have it for the next vlog that is coming soon. The drawings are taking me a while because I've gotten too invested in it. But yeah, I can send you my my doodle list, and you can do something for me if you want.
Nice.
I'll even send you my the Instagram frame that I drew.
Wow, cool.
If you want it for your, drawing pleasure.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, that's the blog. You can find all of that at www.talkthispodcast.com/blog. Check out the rest of the website while you're there. There's more about us. There's the games that are in the hat, which, by the way, send us more games to put in the hat. Frequently asked questions. There's pages for every episode. It's a good time. You should also check us out on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Talk This Podcast. I've actually been posting more lately, so you should definitely follow us now. We had all sorts of good stuff. Throwbacks on the blog, throwbacks in general, more of my doodles. You really don't want to miss it. It's the best way to keep up with what we're up to. Let's see, we are also on YouTube, which we finally had the next installment of Play This!
Yeah!
About the World Ends With You!
Yeah. I'm not, stellar happy with it, but it's good.
I thought it was a great one. You should check it out on YouTube. On YouTube, we're Talk This Sisters. Subscribe. Speaking of subscribing, the podcast itself is on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, and coming very soon, Pandora. So check us out on there. Subscribe, rate, review. You know the drill. Which brings us to our very last segment of the episode. Question of the fortnight.
So, Malin, what is our question of the fortnight?
So, in honor of this week's Nintendo Direct, where we learned the upcoming Fire Emblem game is set in some kind of Fire Emblem version of a high school.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, if you went to Fire Emblem High, what would be your favorite class?
So, this isn't quite my answer, but I found it funny. In the trailer, it's you could have your students take certification exams, which is basically class changes. But they're having Edelgard change to a brigand, take a surface the axe people, the bandit axe people. That's what the class is. It's oh, are you ready to stand on highways and steal from people as they go by with your axe?
Yeah.
That's not actually what it said, but that's what the brigand class is. It's those, generic bandit enemies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just think that's funny. Everything else makes sense. And it's I guess I'm stereotyping, whatever, but
Seriously.
Yeah. It's just funny. It's just a funny concept.
You dodged the question.
I just wanted to share that delightful tidbit, Madeline.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. But now tell us what your favorite class would be.
What would even the classes be?
That was the part of the fun of the question, wasn't it?
Oh.
You're not supposed to
there'd
pick,
be a lot of
geometry.
generic stuff, right? There'd be, the weapons, and then there'd be, the magic types. I don't know. I'm not actually sure that the classes would be all that exciting.
Wow.
What I'm looking forward to most is, smashing my students together and playing matchmaker. So.
Did not love the phrasing of that, but okay. Sure.
But, surreptitiously sticking them next to each other at the lunch table. Oh! So-and-so, have you met so-and-so yet?
So your favorite
Maybe
class
there's, there might be, advanced wooing.
Your favorite class sounds like it's lunch.
So, here's how advanced wooing goes. So, you've helped her carry vegetables in the past. Now's the time for you to confess your love and ask her to marry you. Works 100% of the time. Proceed to the S rank, my young pupils. Sorry, I'm very excited for it.
I can tell.
I thought, like, when I was first watching it, I was like, this is stupid. And the guy that got to do the narrator was so unenthusiastic that wasn't helping. But the more I think about it, the more I'm like, this is stupid. But, like, in a good way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What would your favorite class be?
I have so many. There would be one that's called Advanced Statistics, and it talks about why always in the pivotal moment the enemy gets a critical, or you miss when you've got a 97% chance to hit.
You teach them 80% not acceptable.
That's a
Needs
zero.
to be above 90 or else you're screwed. Ideally, you should really only be going for it if it's 100%. Otherwise, you're going to miss.
Yeah. Let's see what else. What other good things? I might also like just the time people spend in the counselor's office dealing with the children that are their age. Being the same age as their parents. Psychology 101. That's tough.
I thankfully, it does not look like there will be a children's system, which I'm very glad about.
They wouldn't tell you, would they?
Your students are all your children, clearly, so. Well,
now their parents will come back.
Oh, no. I've adopted them, though.
Let's see, what else? It might be cool to go to the dragon stable.
That's true.
Right?
Care of magical creatures class.
Yeah, exactly. We could also talk about the class where you know how to sniff in the air, which soldier you should talk to recruit.
Yeah. Is he not wearing a helmet? Does he have fun hair? There you go that one.
Also the class where you learn how to reset the world when one of your friends dies.
Oh, I love that class.
Very advanced.
My favorite class.
The grades in this, actually an F is not an F, it's called casual.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't pick one, but those would be a bunch of my favorite classes.
Those were all pretty good classes.
Thanks.
Very creative.
Thanks. It's a good curriculum. Really crafting my imaginary world.
Ha.
Well, folks, that's been this week's episode of Talk This. Thanks for tuning in.
It's dangerous.
Oops. I didn't think I'd really thrown it up there as a setup, but I guess I did.
It's dangerous to podcast alone.
Nice. I'm your Talk This host, Madelyn.
I'm your It's Dangerous to Podcast Alone host, Emma.
And we'll see you again next weekend for a full episode of the podcast where we talk about an old game and a new game and try to mash them together with hilarious results.
We hope your classes are as entertaining as Fire Emblem High School.
My hero, Fire Emblem.